if there's anyone out there that's in bands and you're young and maybe you just want to get some stage time, even if you have 20 minutes or half an hour songs, half covers, half original.
This week's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Defy Sports. You can check them out at defysports.ie. Defy Sports are a sports apparel company based in County Louth. They have a couple of stores in Dundalk, County Louth, and they supply a multitude of sports apparel. This includes half zips, t-shirts, training tops, retro GAA jerseys, retro rugby jerseys. They even supply school uniforms and a lot of other things too. You can check them out at defysports.ie, or you can contact them by email if you have a query about ordering something, orders@defy.ie. Big thanks to Defy for sponsoring this week's episode.
We are live.
Live in Montana.
Live and dangerous. Alive and dangerous. Like Thin Lizzy.
Yes. Rob, how are you?
All good, lads. All good.
Pleasure to have you.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting me up.
You're very, very welcome. Very, very welcome. Tell our guests a little bit about yourself. We have Rob Boylan, who plays in a band called Indigo Lights.
Yeah. So I suppose playing with Indigo Lights now the last just over a year and a half. And yeah, met the lads through Facebook ad.
No way.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. They were looking for a lead guitar player. Their lead guitar player had left, and so it went up. I'm originally from Drogheda, and the lads are all Dublin based. So went up anyway and auditioned, got the gig, and then since then, it's just been go with rehearsing and gigging and recording and
brilliant.
All good, yeah.
Brilliant stuff. So since your time in the band, you guys have recorded the Live Sessions EP.
That's right, yeah, that was last year.
And have you been on any of the singles other than that up until now?
No.
Okay, to the Live Sessions.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Where did you record that?
So that was recorded in Shinami Studios in Ballyfermot in Dublin. So the whole idea around that, I suppose, was Ger, who is the primary songwriter, sort of band leader. He had all these songs written, and he basically wanted to get them down, get the structures down, get them recorded, and get a decent quality recording that was economical enough, because you know yourself, if you're hiring at a recording studio for a day, or you want to record 10, 12 songs, it can be very costly. So what I suppose the plan Ger had was, we get in the studio, mic up the kit, play the instruments, and we record all the songs live.
Rage Against the Machine-esque.
Well,
they recorded Evil Empire like that.
Is that right?
Yeah, which is hard to believe, but it was
That's
a
amazing.
live takes, yeah.
Yeah, well, they're phenomenal musicians, so it's a high standard, but we weren't aiming for that kind of standard, but just trying to get them down that they were plausible, and to give people an idea of what we're about and what the songs were about. So we spent a long day in the studio. I think we could have been 14-15 hours in the studio.
Long day.
A lot of coffee.
Yeah, there was several coffees had through the day. We had the jitters by the end of the day. But ran through the songs, basically 3 takes on each song. And the plan was to get 12 songs down. So
36 takes.
Yeah, and then there was extra takes then for video.
Brilliant.
So there's some of the videos on our YouTube channel, Indigo Lights.
It's
YouTube
actually
channel.
funny doing a video, isn't it? Because you're miming.
Well,
usually
we were to be economical. They were killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So it was 3 takes, audio only, and then the 4th take was audio and video.
Audio and video. That's
and then
cool.
There was little snips, so the cameraman would be moving around. So he'd take like a full take on drums, then move to the bassist, full take on bass, full take on guitar.
That's
and
nice.
snip the bits in and out. Then
it's funny. Some of the music videos I had done before, or been part of before, I should say, were all fed in through the in-ears. So it's like you're beating away, or the guitarist isn't actually, he's plugged in, but there's no sound coming through, so you're listening to everything. It's like, oh,
Top of the Pops job.
Yeah. Late show.
So going back to the start then, Rob, how did you get into music, or when was the first memory of music with you?
Yeah, I was driving up on the way here, and I was trying to think, like, when these questions come up, what should we talk about, or what should I say? So I was trying to think back. Like, I think my first memory music was I was born in 1983, so it was the middle of the 80s hair metal, and some of that had come over to Europe. So like, actually, the band Europe, they had a massive hit in the 80s with The Final Countdown.
Yes.
So my mother reminds me and tells me, you know, since you were young, you'd take the tennis racket, get up on the kitchen table and sing The Final Countdown by Europe. So, and there's photographs to back this up. No video back then in Ireland in the 80s, but...
And if you have some of those photos, you may send them
I'll
and put them up on the page. For
I'll dig it out, and send it on. So that was, I suppose, and I was, you know, into that kind of thing, into the whole rock thing. And then... my dad, for work, he does a lot of travelling on the road, and he would have got, I don't know if you remember the Esso tokens you used to get, like fuel vouchers. So every time you filled up the car with diesel, you get vouchers, and then you could collect so many vouchers you could buy things. So there was
the tiger on it, wasn't it?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, they were long, white and red one.
Yeah, I remember them.
So when my dad got enough of these, he went and he got me the Michael Jackson Bad album. From I think it was 1988 it was released.
I think so, yeah, around
so it was,
that time.
Is that the first album you ever got?
That was the first album I got handed, yeah. And it was on tape, you know, cassette tape.
Yeah.
So of course, listen to that back to front. And then into the early 90s then we ended up getting a cassette player, tape player in the house, because before that we just had a radio. And this was a big deal because, you know, that we could listen to music. You didn't have to wait until it was on the radio. You could actually listen on demand, or if you had the records.
Yeah.
So, through somehow my parents got the Best of the Eagles.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, and it was, I don't know what version it was, but it started with Hotel California and New Kid in Town, and went through all the hits from their albums. So that was on repeat. And of course I'd be listening to lyrics and trying to write them down and learn.
What age are you at this stage?
I'd say maybe 8, 9.
Fuck.
Yeah.
To the Eagles.
So it's just it was good introduction.
Yeah.
And of course the guitar solos and Hotel California.
Man.
Everything.
It was just unbelievable. Very, very
I actually
impactful.
saw a video the other night of like top 10 heavy hitters, or 10 heavy hitting solos, and one of these nights was in there.
Fantastic.
You know the solo from Ed Gavin, it's absolutely class.
Oh, they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
Don Felder, wasn't it?
Yeah.
On that one, yeah. Oh, fantastic stuff. Yeah, they're a brilliant band. I know they might get a lot of stick for being, a bit country or a bit too polished or pop, and I know Don Henley, a lot of people say things about him, but like, fantastic band. Like
Jesus.
They're like the Beatles or Rolling Stones. They're just one of those bands that are etched in history.
Yeah, really, really good. They made a serious name for themselves.
So you were 8 listening to the Eagles?
8, 9, round that, yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you. You were writing down lyrics and stuff?
I was, of the songs to try and remember. Like, so Hotel California, I was writing down the lyrics to try and, be able to sing them back.
Yes.
Type thing. So then, I suppose, moving on, when I actually started, wanting to explore more music, I think it was for my birthday, I got, now that's what I call music, 29.
Okay.
And it was mostly pop songs at the time. I was thinking 1994 that was released. But there was 4 rock songs in a row at the end of tape number 2, I think it was. And it was, so it was Rolling Stones' Love Is Strong. There was Cranberries' Zombie. There was Oasis, Cigarettes and Alcohol. That was just, Oasis were just coming out then. They'd released Definitely Maybe.
Yeah.
And the 4th one was R.E.M., What's the Frequency, Kenneth? From their kind of grunge album, Monster.
Yeah.
So again, they were on repeat because it was rock music, it was guitar music, and it was
nice
something
mix
that was
very nice mix.
Really nice mix, isn't it?
Yeah. Wow.
And then I suppose I went out to buy my first album myself, and it was Blur Parklife.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, in 1994. That was when Britpop started coming in, and it was Blur, Oasis. Who do you prefer, Blur, Oasis?
Yeah.
So I actually preferred Blur at the start. Bought The Great Escape when that came out with Country House and all that stuff.
That was a great time, actually.
And then I got into Oasis then with What's the Story and Be Here Now, and great time to be getting into music. And then I think at age 15 I got my first acoustic guitar for Christmas, and yeah, just started to mess around myself trying to learn. So I think I tried to learn the, you know, that riff, Deep Purple, Smoke in the Water.
Yeah.
So it's just an easy riff, three, you know, 3 or 4 chords, and you're just playing through it. So yeah, learned that as best I could, and struggled on for a few years with chord books trying to make shapes and this kind of crack, and then started going out and getting more into music, and CDs came along then in our house anyway, in the late 90s. So like first CDs I bought was Nirvana, Nevermind. So that was a huge impact. I had one of the Beatles best ofs. I think it was the red one.
Yeah, I had that one, yeah.
I think I had a Tin Lizzy best of the wild
one, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The white one with Phil on the front. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then the other one was Queen, Greatest Hits, the first Greatest Hits album.
It's a great one as well. I remember my mother had bought it. We used to listen to it in the car. It was absolutely class.
There's just not a bad song, and them albums that you just named, there's none.
And what I loved about the Queen one was there were a lot of songs that I wasn't familiar with.
Yeah.
And then I got to hear them that weren't, say, singles, or they weren't really
Yeah.
mainstream, but they still made the greatest hits. Similar to the Foo Fighters' greatest hits album.
Yeah.
It would have done the same for me, the ones that weren't on MTV or weren't on Kerrang, or I was enlightened to them. I was like, oh, jeez, these are brilliant.
You know, just going off topic a wee bit, you know, the Foo Fighters' first album, maybe Rob, you know this, Dave Grohl played every instrument on that album.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I
found
think
that out
there's
today.
one song where the guitarist from the Afghan Wigs, who was his mate, I can't remember his name, he popped into the studio when Dave was recording. He said you wouldn't overdub a guitar solo on one of the songs. And he did, like, he just overdubbed it. Now, I can't remember the song and I can't remember the guy's name.
Yeah.
But apart from that, you're right, everything else is tracked by
Everything,
Dave.
Yeah. So it must be the
Vocals.
second album then he got the boys in. Must have been.
Yeah, and I think even on the second album, so the original drummer,
I think he played drums. This is what I was telling you. So the original drummer, or the story goes that another guy who was in the band laid the drum tracks, and Dave just couldn't sit with it.
Oh.
So he re-recorded them.
On the first album.
I think it was the second, because if he played
What's the
everything on
second
the
album?
first,
Is it
the
one?
colour and the shape.
Oh, the colour and the
Yeah.
shape. That's the blue one with the
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So they re-recorded it. It's in that Foo Fighters documentary. Back and
that-
Forth.
yeah.
That was a great documentary, that one.
Well, imagine trying to compete though. It's like you're nearly not even the best drummer in the band.
Yeah.
You know, the front band can beat the brakes off anyone drum wise.
Yeah. Obviously Taylor must have done something impressive.
Taylor had to be, up there and really suited. But Taylor was phenomenal. He was a powerhouse.
And a guitarist as well, and a singer, and
Yeah.
going
I
off
used to
topic
love-
here now
I
altogether.
used to
but
love when he would sing the Queen numbers.
remember we seen them?
Yeah. What did they do? Somebody to Love that night?
Yeah, Dave, me and Luke, we're going way off topic here, but anyway, me and Luke were sitting here. Remember I
We
texted
went
you
to see them in the RDS.
the day before the concert? We didn't have tickets, and we're like, I seen that someone was selling 2
Was this
tickets.
2019?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
was
the
there.
RDS.
The RDS.
Yeah.
What a gig.
We got into the pit bit.
Yeah.
I was like 50 quid each. I'm like, Luke, it's a fucking no brainer. I'll drive up. Let's go.
We ended up getting into the pit thanks to your mate we
Yeah.
bumped into.
Yeah, we went
He
into-
had 2 pit tickets and he was with his missus, so fair play to him.
Yeah.
And
Shout out
he
to
didn't
Ruba.
want to go to the pit. He was like, sure, we'll hang back here and sort of take it easy, and swap the 2 tickets, and we got into the
I think
pit.
the band was in the hotel that day,
The
weren't
band were in the hotel.
they? You know the big red one around the corner from the RDS?
It's not the Shelbourne, is it? Or the
No.
Intercontinental,
It's,
that one?
It's out beside the English Embassy.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter on you. It was a fancy one, but we went in and had a beer.
We
and-
went in, we had a beer to meet these people,
Yeah.
wasn't it? And funny enough, after it, a student that I now teach
Yeah.
was going to the concert. Shout out to Ian Gunnery. And Ian was going to the concert. He said he sat up at the bar, he had came from work, was a bit flustered, arrived late, ordered his pint or whatever, and he found that there was a load of people looking in his direction. So he was starting to get a wee bit freaked out. He said,
Paranoid.
what's the story? Like, did I do something wrong, or did I rip my shirt or something like this? And he said he looked around to his left and Taylor Hawkins was sitting beside him at the bar.
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And he said that Taylor sort of just struck up a conversation with him, or the two of them struck up a conversation. He said he noticed him, but he he didn't cop like that. It was it's Taylor Hawkins in a huge way until maybe a wee bit into the conversation. He
They're only up or something,
this
wasn't
guy.
it?
Yeah, they had supposedly a heavy night on the town the night previous in Temple Bar, and I think Dave had a sore head according to the narrative, but who's to know, as they say. Believe, none of what you hear and half of what you see.
Yeah.
So.
It was a hell of a gig though, and
It was a hell of a gig, and he said
Yeah.
Taylor couldn't have been nicer.
Yeah.
He had a great crack with him. He sat and chatted with him for 5 or 10 minutes while he drank his pint.
he seemed like a really down to earth fella. Yeah.
I remember the T-shirt Taylor was wearing that night.
Was it the white sleeve?
It was a black T-shirt,
Sleeveless.
right? But it had U2 on the front.
That's right.
And Thin Lizzy on the back.
That's
No way.
Right. Yeah,
And they-
I
didn't
remember
they
that.
go
Remember
into-
he played Sunday Bloody Sunday.
That's
He
right.
played the intro,
And then they played Jailbreak.
Yeah,
that
he
was
started to mess, didn't he?
They went
See,
through
they
a whole
played-
section.
They played Jailbreak fully at Slane in
That's right.
2015.
I was there for that. Yeah, that was
They
great.
played it. They covered it.
Who was headlining that day? It was Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters,
That was
yeah.
the Piss and Rain, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
Oh,
Kaiser
yeah,
Chiefs.
I had a ticket.
And the Stripes were there as well.
The
that day.
Stripes were the first band, I think. Ash and Hosier. The
Hosier?
Stripes, yeah. Hosier.
Hosier was there. That's
Yeah.
right. He was only
Ash.
breaking at the time.
I think the Stripes, Ash, Hosier, Kaiser Chiefs, and the Foo Fighters. There was 5 on the bill.
First concert I ever seen was Foo Fighters.
Supporting the Chili's.
No,
Or in the arena,
they
in the Pint.
headlined the Pint, yeah.
The one you got kicked out of.
yeah.
Gavin was being a bowel
That
boy.
was 02, 01, 02. Yeah. It's a mistaken identity.
I was still in nappies there.
Yeah. That was a fucking great gig too. But nah, they're fucking brilliant. And Taylor's son is absolutely...
Oh man, he's a beast. Shane Hawkins.
He's
he
like
can
a
play.
man possessed.
Yeah,
He
but
can
brilliant,
play.
brilliant
He's a
player.
powerhouse as well. Yeah.
Did you see the video recently of Dave? They were touring somewhere, and I think he's kind of playing an odd song with them. He's still young, like.
Yeah.
And Dave kind of, you can tell, like that story I said about Kirk and Madrid, like he's kind of looking back and he's going, this fucker has something, like.
Yeah.
You know?
it's like his dad up there, or it's
Yeah, but
reminiscent.
it's almost like he's kind of going,
He's breaking character.
fuck, this kid has it, like.
Yeah.
You know, this
He's
kid
only
has-
17 or something, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, because I think at those memorial concerts they played for him, he was only 15.
Yeah, he did Everlong, wasn't it?
No, he done
did
My Hero.
My Hero, yeah. And Dave had to slow him down. You remember that? He's like,
Yeah.
he was ready to go into it. He's like,
Yeah.
whoa. But sorry, we're after going mad there.
Oh no, that's great. It's great having these stories, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everything interconnects in
Yeah.
music. Like.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Where were we? Albums. So yeah, so you
We
were
were
listening.
talking about greatest hits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then so I was listening. They were my 4 CDs. I was on repeat. So it was the Beatles, Queen, Thin Lizzy, Nirvana, and that was a great ground in guitar music and rock music.
Great influences.
Yeah, and then it just kind of came. Metallica just came on the scene for me then.
Black Album.
Black Album, yeah, first one, and that just changed everything. And I wanted to take my guitar playing up a notch, and I went to a local guitar teacher in Drogheda, Kieran McDonald,
Brilliant.
and he's very well known in Drogheda. He plays in a lot of the tribute bands, like the Bon Jovi tribute band. He would have been in the Metallica tribute band, filling in a number of times, and he was in a Guns N' Roses tribute band in the past.
Oh, okay.
He plays bass, he plays guitar. He's just a phenomenally gifted musician.
Brilliant.
And so I took a couple of lessons with him, and it was I was 16 at the time, so I come in with my guitar and I'm like, okay, I want to learn the solo Tender Sandman. And he's like, great, yeah, no problem. So this is in the key of E minor, right? And it's more or less E minor pentatonic scale.
Yeah.
So here's the E minor pentatonic scale, which is also the scale of G major. And he's gone through all this theory, and I'm like, I just want to do what Kirk Hammett does.
Yeah.
Skip all the theory. So I went to a couple of lessons with him, and then that just kind of faded away. And at the time then, guitar tabs online was becoming
A thing.
accessible, a thing. So I used to print the guitar tabs out, and we didn't have mobile
Yeah.
phones, didn't have smartphones, but print them out, had them in an A4 book, and you're going through, like, the solo for Ender Sandman was like 6 pages a tab.
Yeah.
With the little numbers, 12th fret, 15th
And
fret.
then you're trying to decipher against the record whether it's real or whether it's not.
Yeah, because there was bad tabs and good tabs.
Very much
Yeah.
so, yeah. Yeah.
Some of them are inaccurate.
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
I remember it too. Yeah, I remember my cousin Reggie seeing him crack, and you'd be like, "He's playing." I'm like, "That's not right, man. That is not fucking right."
And that would have been a lot harder for you guys, considering you couldn't slow the song down, and number two, you just couldn't go on to YouTube and watch.
No.
No
Someone
YouTube.
else.
No, the mobile phones were a brick. You could just text them.
And the printer took about 5 minutes to do a page.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're relying on your ear, and yeah, there was no shortcuts
No.
like back then. So you could go to a guitar teacher, or you could print out the tabs and sit with them. But one thing I always struggled with the tabs, so I had a number of solos that I wanted to learn. So there was obviously Enter Sandman, there was Stairway to Heaven
Brilliant.
by Led Zeppelin, and there was Sweet Child of Mine, Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, one of
So like
most iconics.
Yeah, like so in the Sweet Child of Mine solo, Guns N' Roses, there's a bluesy guitar solo which is
Yes.
quite slow
Yeah.
and has a lot of feel, and yeah, I was able to get that
The
Close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was able to get that close enough to sound okay. But when he went into that
Yeah.
final solo and he does this run, and it's just you've got all the fingers working, but
Yeah.
they're sliding so fast. But that's where I struggled with. I need to slow that down
Yeah.
and play it
Build
slow
the tempo up.
and build the tempo up to a metronome. But that was I struggled with that bit. So
The phrase "slow it down and do it again" does not appeal when you're 16. You want to be
No.
fit to
No.
play it at the speed of Slash. And I try and explain that to
Is you-
students or explain that to people. And through a wonderful teacher that I had an experience with or took a few lessons from, Dave Elich, who's based in LA, is a renowned drummer. Very, very good. He's a brilliant educator as well. That would be one of his sayings, is slow it down and do it again. And I remember it would have been 2020. I took the first couple of lessons with him during just as COVID struck. He had an online course that I would have done throughout COVID. That kept me busy. It was brilliant. But that was one of the sayings, and I applied it to everything. And I'm trying to say that to students. It's like, you know how easy it has become to practice when you just start to slow things down, do it again. And it's very unattractive, but the muscle memory side of getting a pattern into your head for 10 or 15 minutes at a slow speed before you start to boost it on the metronome
yeah, for
will
sure,
really stand to you.
for sure. And I suppose it was an unfortunate gap around, say 98 to 2002 there, because before that it was all vinyl and
Yes.
records, and you could physically slow down
The vinyl.
the vinyl to half speed or whatever. There was a button
Yeah.
to slow it down.
And would you have
Oh,
damaged the vinyl doing that?
I don't believe
designed
so.
to
I
slow it
think
down.
so.
Designed
So
to slow
there's
down.
There's the wee dial on it, wasn't
33 RPM or 45.
And
Yeah.
then that became
So if you had a
78,
45,
wasn't there,
you
or
could slow it to
77?
33,
Yeah.
and you were getting,
Okay.
I know, it's a 60% of the speed. But that's how, like, Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page, all these, Jeff Beck, that's how they learned.
Learn to do BB
They
King's
slowed down
or
the vinyl.
Albert King's
Kept
mix.
playing it until they could play it like the record. Now, when you slowed down the vinyl, then it would also go out of tune.
Yes.
It would be in a different tuning.
Yeah.
So they had to learn it in a different place on the guitar and then transpose it back up.
Okay.
Or tune their guitar to
Down
the
or
recording, learn the lick, and
in
then
the right
tune it up
place.
when they had the speed. So at least they had that. But in that period, like now you've got YouTube, you can go into settings. You can
And
go
the playback
75%.
speed. That's what I normally
speed,
do.
or 50% playback
That's
speed.
my lifesaver for practicing solos, to get it up to speed.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you can record it on GarageBand. You can play it back to your heart's content, listen to your own playing, critique
Yeah.
it. You didn't really have a lot of that in
No.
the late 90s, early 2000s. And the CD you can't slow down. It's a digital file, so it's just playing. So yeah, it was kind of weird time, but I kept plugging away, and through college and stuff, kept plugging away. And then when kind of had finished college, I decided, right, want to get a band together now. I've been playing for, at that stage, probably 8 years or something, and I was like, right, okay, need to get a band together. So got together with a couple of mates at home that live very close by, just outside Drogheda, and we decided we'd start doing covers. So at that time then, it was Arctic Monkeys were the big band, so also the Strokes,
Oh yeah.
Oasis were kind of a bit on the wane, but still very popular. So we started off with a lot of that kind of stuff, easy enough stuff to get to grips with quickly.
Brilliant.
So myself and a mate of mine, Donald Quinn, who's solo musician and still rocking now, still doing his own stuff. for many years now, writing and recording his own stuff, and he's on Spotify and stuff. So I'll give Donald a little plug here. And I was actually saying to him he should come up someday and
Yeah, for
you know,
sure.
give you guys an interview and his, I suppose, journey in music and where he is with it.
That'd be brilliant.
Cool.
Yeah, but so me and Donald got together, and Donald was in school with my younger brother, so he was starting to discover music in his early 20s as well. And so we started a covers band, and we got a bassist on board, and then we went through a number of different drummers until we found the one that stuck. And his name is Eric Strong, and again he's been heavily involved in the music scene as well, and he's done some original stuff and cover stuff, and he's one of my best mates to this day as
Brilliant.
well.
Eric Strong, you said.
Eric, yeah.
So
So
he's still gigging about.
oh yeah, Eric's busy. He's always busy.
Brilliant.
I think I've seen him. Does he play around RD?
Not too sure now. Yeah, Dundalk or Tolls, he's played a good few
He's got
times.
like long enough hair to be here, no?
It's short at the moment. He's growing it out now again, but
I think I have anyway.
it's short. He's all tats.
A lot of
He's
great
full rocker.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't
A lot of
miss
great
him.
musicians come out of Drogheda, like
Oh yeah,
a lot of
it's-
good bands and stuff back in the
music
day.
scene back in the day was
Brilliant.
unbelievable. Like
Top
you know,
notch.
I remember 17, 18 going to McHugh's, the old venue,
Yeah.
and it was literally like twice the size of this room here. You know, it wasn't the venue it is today, but they used to pack it in. and
Heaving.
It was, you know, they'd all the best bands, and then McPhail's was a great spot.
Feels was
Yeah, I
deadly too.
remember hearing about it.
Brilliant,
Is
man.
it closed now?
It's closed, yeah, but you probably would have gone to.
Yeah,
a
I
few
was in
gigs there.
McPhail. Yeah, I've seen. I used to go up to see. Who did we go to see up there? I think the boys, the Pearl Jam tribute band. They were called Pearl Jam. I think they were out
That's
that
right.
time, and they used to play in McPhail's around Christmas. But there was another band we used to go up to see in Drogheda. There was another guy from RD called Mickey McConnon, and he's a drummer, and they had a heavy band, and I think they used to do some Slayer or Megadeth.
No way.
Fucking
Yeah.
Pantera and shit, and we used to go up and see them. But like, it was pure. It was just rockers heaven.
Oh yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
growing up, we'll say, not just heavy rock, right? You only had a few lads from every town, but then when you go and congregate in the one area, you're like, oh yeah, you lad, you know, you're not talking to 2 or 3 people, you're talking to 50 people.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it wasn't, like you said, we didn't have fucking YouTube or Instagram to chat to people. You had to go and talk to people.
Yeah.
So like them nights out were special.
It was brilliant.
Yeah,
There was-
even
and
in
there was-
Dundalk as well. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever remember a band from Casablanca called Speed King.
Speed King.
They-
No, can't say.
They would have played Drogheda. They would have played everywhere.
Yeah,
They were like. Remember I told you about them? Like they would have played stuff that no one was playing.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, as you said, if people were playing Sandman, they were playing
They were
Master
playing
of Puppets.
Orion.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were
okay,
playing
yeah.
Orion. They were playing
Battery.
Cemetery Gates. They were playing Cowboys from Hell. They were playing Fate No More.
Wow.
Tin
So
Lizzy
good.
stuff, like, and that scene, like, remember, like, Ribsy, who was on, one of our guests, and he was saying, like, that, and I'm sure the younger generation now don't seem to be, yes, there's a handful here, there, and everywhere, but back in the day, it was, like, you were just telling the story that everyone wanted to make a band. Everyone
Yeah.
wanted to be on the
Yeah.
stage. And as you said, Luke, there is people doing music, but not so much in a group, more individual stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people might do individual stuff, or even
Of course, there's bands, but
they're happier maybe even to just record, you know, and not gig as much,
Yeah.
which I found bizarre, because when I was younger, I remember my first experience of gigging was being asked to audition for a local band where the drummer and the guitarist had decided to do their own thing. They didn't want to really play anymore, they wanted to play different music, and that was cool. But the guys were a little bit older than I. They were 3 years older than me, and one of them was only 2 years older than me, still very good friends with them. And it was like, okay, learn these 3 songs and show up at this venue on such a date, and we'll have a rehearsal. And I was like, fuck, you know, this I'm only playing gigs now. I'm like 15, I'm going to be playing in the pub at the weekend, getting paid to play
buzzing,
drums.
yeah. You wouldn't even care about the money.
You know, yeah. just I remember like telling my friends, it'd be like, come down to the gig on Saturday night, and there's still some great people who supported all the way back then, who still support and share and stream the stuff that we're currently playing with or playing in, and supporting the podcast, which is great to see.
I think it's just more shit to get distracted by these days.
Yeah, I think, look, it could definitely go off topic. That could be another topic altogether.
Yeah.
In the most concise way possible, I feel when people are learning off YouTube, there's very little depth to it. So like you had said, Rob, about wanting to learn the solo of Sandman, you just wanted to do what Kirk Hammett was doing. I was once in a similar position where I was like, fuck the minor pentatonic scale, I just want to know the solo. You're learning the notes, but when you start to realise it is the pentatonic scale that's going to open more to you, and then you embellish some bits off the pentatonic scale and bring it further again.
For sure.
Then you start to know when you play in a different key, all you have to do is play that and let it go to build a solo, and you're becoming a better musician. Whereas kids now these days can just learn the lick, learn the pattern.
Yeah, it's a bit sterile.
Yeah, it's sterile. Like I had done studied with, big shout out to Cara McLean, who is the drummer with The Lion King on Broadway in New York, and he's a fabulous player. Check him out on YouTube or send him an email. He's on a bit of a hiatus from Instagram these days, rightly so, because it's just a cesspit of shite. But we went through some singles and doubles just when it came to drumming.
Yeah.
For a good while to really get into the nitty gritty and nuance stuff of that. And when you start to realise that a lot of stuff to do with fills or soloing is built up out of single and double stroke rolls, but that's not sexy. That's not attractive. As we had said before, it's not playing at 300 miles an hour around the kit and somebody sees guys. And I'm not trying to knock those either, but I do have some friends who will send me some videos and go, wow, check out this guy playing a one-handed gravity blast roll. It'd be like, you should learn that. I was like, no, I shouldn't. I'll never use it. Ever. Bar a video on TikTok. But some other guy's already done it. So that's not being authentic. Playing along or listening to those records has gone out the window. That is a bit of a long-winded rant that there's no depth anymore, but back to what we've said about 10 or 12 times already on this podcast of track lists. Nobody cares about the order of stuff. No. Not nobody, but very few artists.
Yeah.
In terms of the album format,
start to finish, and like listening to an album start to finish, as we've said before, how many people do that anymore?
That's gone a long time, I think.
Yeah,
I think it's gone a long time.
I do myself, but
Yeah.
it's not. It's few and far between.
Yeah.
Like Deep Purple released a new album there last week. Their new guitar player is actually
Simon
from
McBride
Belfast.
is from Belfast. He's
That's
a
right.
weapon guitar
Unbelievable.
player. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
He was a lecturer in BIM.
Way.
He would have lectured Michael for a while actually.
Way.
Like when Michael was there, but a killer guitar player.
Jeez.
Yeah, great album.
Fuck,
Have you heard
It's
it?
unreal.
No, I haven't.
It's
check
definitely worth
it
a
out.
listen. Yeah, it's not that long. It's 45-50 minutes.
Yeah.
It's about 10 or 12 tracks, but yeah, excellent. But I would listen. So I was listening to the singles leading up to it, and one of the singles kind of faded into the next one, and I was like, they have to be one after another in the album, because I love when bands do that, Pink Floyd or whoever it may be. But funny enough, in the album there was a song wedged in between.
No way.
And I was like,
Jesus Christ.
it's a bit odd, because they were in the same key and one just sort of rolled it into the other. But
I always loved that. I think when I think of that, or someone talks about it, remember Holiday would merge into Boulevard of Broken Dreams for Green Day,
yeah.
and the music videos were the same.
That's right.
It was the ending, a holiday.
Yeah.
Do you know? And then it went to the
That's
and it
right.
was like, wrecking the car to them getting out of it to walking into that. Was it black and white that started out in, or that sort of still?
I wanted to do that on stage, on tour.
did you see the Green Day show at Marley Park?
No,
three weeks ago.
We were thinking of going, but it was a Thursday night and it was rainy, and we just didn't have tickets.
Did you
sorted.
go?
I went, yeah.
What did you think?
So they were celebrating. It was 20 years of American Idiot
No way,
and
because it was
30 years
2004.
of Ducky. So they played the whole album like they started off with a couple of songs, then they played Ducky the whole way through.
Oh, yeah.
Then they had a few more songs from other albums. Then they played the American Idiot album
the whole
way
way
through.
No way.
And it was exactly like you say.
Yeah.
They ran from one song to the next as per the album, because there's a number of songs that happens
merge into
on
each
the
other.
album, and the album's a whole story. Like there's
Yeah.
a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a concept album.
Yeah.
As close as you can get to a
Because
concept
remember,
album.
like Saint Jimmy, the original was like 11 minutes long. It had City of the Damned and
yeah, and Jesus of Suburbia.
Jesus of Suburbia, all into one.
What was the song on Dookie? Was it? It was so easy to play. I remember
It
playing
wasn't
it.
Basket Case.
No, it was like
When I Come Around.
no.
Longview.
I think like the video during like a scrapyard or something. Do.
Oh yeah.
It's like literally two notes.
Is that Brain Stew? Is it?
Brain Stew, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Great
That's it.
albums.
They
Oh,
were
yeah.
great.
Great-
That
great
Dookie
band.
was a great album.
30 years.
Great band. They don't look their age either on stage.
No.
Full of energy.
Yeah.
You get a
They
two
look after
and a half
themselves
hour
by
show.
the look of it.
Yeah. Excellent. Absolutely
Wow, so
brilliant.
they done Dookie. Did a couple of songs, then the Dookie, then American Idiot. Holy God.
Yeah.
That must have been a hell of a show.
Great show. Yeah. We were in the pit for it as well, which is
Oh,
is great.
nice.
Like, you've no obstruction. You're just right there with the
Yeah.
band. Like.
Did you go in early or?
Yeah, so caught a bit of the support band, Nothing But Thieves. Yeah, they
I've
were.
heard of them before, yeah.
They were good now. Yeah. I think they have, like, they've kind of rocky indie rock stuff, and then they have stuff that's maybe a bit more electronic. So they focused on the indie rock stuff. They actually played a cover of the Pixies' "Where Is My Mind,"
No
which I
way.
was well impressed with.
You were happy with that.
Where
Yeah.
are they from?
I think they're English. Yeah, not sure whereabouts, but
Brilliant.
England anyway. Yeah.
How did you find Marley Park?
Yeah, it's fine. You know.
When you're down that low, maybe.
Yeah.
I remember Metallica.
You were saying that was my first gig, funny enough.
Yeah, I was up to almost like Slane. If you're anywhere on the hill in Slane, it's shy. In my opinion,
Yeah.
Outdoor venues is
it's tough unless
in
you're
general.
up.
sound.
Unless you're
wise,
up
yeah.
tight. But
Yeah.
in and out of Marley Park, how was it?
Yeah, well, I parked, like I
You
drove
parked,
up because
drove.
it's just easier.
Yeah.
it is easy.
And,
it's not worth having.
So I caught Pearl Jam the weekend before,
Oh, brilliant.
and then Green Day. And I always try and catch a few gigs there in the summer, because there's always good rock bands playing, there seems to be, in Marley Park.
How'd you find Pearl Jam?
Oh, I thought it was fantastic, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
heard-
was blown away.
I heard a Dublin gig. A cousin of mine was at it, and he said it was as good as he's seen them like 20 years ago or something
Yeah,
like that. He
oh,
said.
I couldn't believe the energy they had. You know, they were just on it, and they played a
Great
lot of the
set.
hits off. Yeah, 10. I think they played 7 songs off 10. Versus Vitalogy, Yield, all the 90s stuff like was well represented.
Yeah,
Played
we
lots
should
of
have
stuff
went
off
to
the
that
new
one
album.
as well.
Yeah, we got them
I
in
know it was
Madrid.
tough. We got to see them in Madrid, but
Oh, brilliant!
yeah, we went to
Great
see them
stuff.
at Mad Cool, and we got to see Metallica then, so
Oh, class!
it was brilliant. It was fun.
2 nights at Metallica, was it?
Yeah.
Friday and Sunday was absolutely brilliant.
Pearl
Absolutely
Jam on
class.
Thursday night and caught Kneecap as well. They were playing.
Yeah, they were brilliant.
Yeah.
They were absolutely class.
But
Really?
Eddie's voice, I think, was.
Oh, stop the lights.
Yeah.
But that band, like, same as Dublin, like, they're just
Excuse me.
so tight, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, great rock
Yeah,
and
no,
roll band.
just unreal, Gavin, weren't they?
The guitarist, he's a
Why,
cool
Stone
name.
Reedy?
Gossard.
Stone Gossard, yeah. Fucking hell, man.
Mike
Unbelievable.
McCready was cool.
McCready, yeah.
He had so many cool guitars as well.
Yeah, he used
Yeah,
a
he
lot,
nearly
didn't he?
like swapped every other song. He had like 3 or 4 different strats.
Yeah,
Couldn't believe it, but his guitars were kick ass.
I wonder when he was at that.
In Mad Cool,
Yeah,
it's fucking packed.
60.
Go again. I'd say there could have been
I'd say
80.
it was the same as Slane, maybe. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a hell of a festival.
really. Yeah,
Oh,
It was
yeah.
basically the same lineup as Glastonbury
With Pearl Jam.
and with Smashing Pumpkins. The Smashing Pumpkins
Yeah.
do Glastonbury.
Don't think so.
4-day
I
ticket,
know Dua Lipa
220
did,
quid
didn't she?
wow, that's class.
for nothing.
Yeah,
In
the amount
the
of acts you can see.
Yeah.
It's not even
For that,
60
yeah.
euros a day.
No, it's for
€55 a day.
for nothing.
But the big rock festival in Ireland is dead, really. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Whatever about, I remember Oxygen back in the
Ah.
early 2000s. You know, you go there, you could have got some great bands like Foo Fighters headline one year. You know.
Audio Slave.
Green Day were there another year.
I was actually looking back, funny you say that, I was looking back during the week. I was trying to figure out what year I was there. And I believe I was there in 04 and 05.
Oh yeah.
And it was...
Early days.
It was...
Yeah, 04 was The Strokes.
Strokes. Your man was bananas on the stage.
Yeah.
The lead singer.
Forget his
David
name.
Bowie was meant to headline
Bowie
on the
pulled
Sunday,
out.
and he pulled out.
Yeah.
And so
James
Muse
Brown
were
was
taken.
there.
James Brown was there,
I
yeah.
seen James Brown.
No
The
way.
Who was there the year I was there as well.
That was 06, the Who were
Was that
there.
06 then?
Yeah, that was 06.
And
Yeah.
James Brown. James Brown played before The Who. And
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
right up the front, man. James,
Yeah, I was in the pit for that. Yeah,
You know,
that was
James Brown,
unbelievable.
you could see the sweat hopping off, man.
Oh,
I could see
yeah.
it tripping down his face.
As he used to say, the hardest worker in show business.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
06 was a great year. I missed 05 and it was
Snoop
all
Dogg.
rock and metal. It was a great.
Snoop
There was
Dogg.
Audio Slave,
Audio
Foo
Slave.
Fighters, Green Day, I
Chili's.
think Oasis, no?
No,
05?
I don't think Oasis was there.
No.
Arctic Monkeys was there.
Arctic Monkeys in 06.
They were they weren't a headline like.
They were on the main stage in the middle of the day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because a girl I
Yeah,
know,
it was class.
funny story, a girl I know was, you know the way they had the big wheel and all that crack?
Mm.
This is true, a girl from RD, and
Oh, you were telling me this
she's
before.
on
This
she's
is
on the
brilliant.
big wheel, and there was the queue was a mile, so they thought if you were doing two people to put two other with you, you know.
Mhm.
So the two girls were on the wheel and two lads sitting beside them, English accents, and
Probably Josh Turner or Alex Turner.
who are you over to see? Oh yeah, Arctic Monkeys as well, you know. We are the Arctic Monkeys.
Unbelievable.
Two bikes were on the wheel with them, they didn't even know them.
That is unreal.
Yeah, they just knew the songs, they didn't know what they looked
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and they were
They,
stuck on the wheel for about 10 minutes with them then.
They
That would have
really
been some crack.
Oh.
they exploded onto the scene, the Arctic Monkeys. I remember I was in college when the Betty Look and the Dance Floor came out,
That,
and it was just it was on, was it MTV2 or one of the
Yeah.
one of the rock channels, and they just came out and it was a real raw video.
it was just a club, like.
Yeah.
Or was it it
was
could be
almost
a studio, but it was
amateur footage, and it just
amateur
looked.
footage, and it was raw. It was his vocals were out of tune,
And he had
his
the real
guitars were out of
Sheffield
tune,
accent
But
and-
it was like the closest thing to punk rock music at
Yeah.
that time that you could
Yes, like a revival.
Smoking,
It was
was he smoking on the
unbelievable.
stage? I think he
It
was. It was just. It was
whole-
almost like the Oasis.
get. And that was
kinda-
before the album came out, so they
Yeah.
were getting all this hype.
Yeah,
And then when the album dropped, it was like the biggest selling debut album,
yeah.
British debut album of all time, I think.
I remember seeing like, oh my god, they're going on a world tour. And that's when the Stripes supported them.
Well, they supported them on the European tour
Yeah.
during AM. So that
Was
would
that
have been-
AM?
Yeah, but 2014.
Oh, that was later. Okay.
2013, 2014, yeah, was later on.
But they were brilliant. The Oxygen was brilliant. Now, it was. I remember the weather was brutal.
Weather wasn't great in 06.
Oh my god! I remember like we had to go out to the car and sleep. Like the tents were flooded. And
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, it was. a
but
bad-
like we were young, we didn't.
Yeah,
give
didn't
a
care.
Shit, like you know.
Once
Yeah.
he's had enough clothes and
Right, we're going a bit mad here. So, on the topic of Pearl Jam,
yeah.
you were in a band.
Yeah, I joined the Pearl Jam tribute band back in 2022, I think it was. Yeah. So the lads are from Ashburn, and they were looking for a lead guitar player. Their lead guitar player had left. So got one of them actually reached out to me. I had an ad on, is it bandmix.com? I think it's that one. I had an ad there anyway. So one of the guys, Marcus, reached out to me and said, would you be interested in coming on board? So yeah, joined up with the lads, and it was the Mike McCready stuff I was tasked with learning, which was great education and so interesting, you know, just going through them songs, trying to dissect them. And the great thing about Mike McCready is like he doesn't play a guitar solo the same way twice ever live. He's a bit like Jimi Hendrix in that sort of respect. It's all improvisation, feel in
takes
the
a
moment.
bit of feel,
Bit of
yeah.
feel,
He closes his eyes and he just puts his head up and he just lets it flow out of him.
Yeah.
And it's phenomenal. So yeah, so that was great because some of the songs, right, I might have to nail the solo, but other songs you're improvising in his style.
Brilliant.
Which is, you know, as a musician, that's really where you can
Teaches
let
you
go.
a lot
Yeah,
as well, yeah.
Yeah, you know,
You can release.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, we've been kind of. It's not a very busy band, but yeah, we're hoping now we can do something later on this year.
All right.
Brilliant.
With it again, you know, that the lads, we all went to the gig, so the lads are all very energised.
What's the name of it?
Ledbetter.
Oh,
Yeah, as in
Brilliant.
yellow Ledbetter.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
taking the second half of that. So, yeah, so watch this space on that. Yeah, there might be some stuff coming on that later in the year.
Cool. Very
Um,
good. So what other bands then? Was there anything else before Indigo Lights then, or were you in and out of different stuff, or did you ever pen any of your own stuff? Any?
So I suppose just going back to, I met up with Eric and Donald and we had the band then, we called ourselves Raga, which
Okay.
I was very adamant on. The name doesn't matter. Like, look at the Beatles, you know, the Eagles. Names don't matter. Just pick a name and go with it. So Donald was big into the Strokes, and I think Raga was a working title for one of their tracks. So
Okay.
we just went with that, and we ended up being semi-successful cover band in the Drogheda scene. Played McPhail's a couple of times. We kind of had a residency in McHugh's for about a year, where we
Brilliant.
played there every 6 to 8 weeks. They kept calling us back, so that was good, and that was in the new venue. And then we went further afield. We had some gigs in Balbriggan and Swords, Navan, places like that. I never actually got up to RD for a gig, but yeah, it was
better
great. So
off.
You could have been better off.
I don't know, but yeah, so it
Who
was.
was like you about, Gavin?
You're worse than Carrick McCrows now.
Oh, no, leave Carrick alone. Behave.
So yeah, that was good then. So how long was that spell with them? How long did
That was all covered. So that kind of kicked off in 2006, and it went until around 2000. Let me think now. Years 2012, I'd
that?
say.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And then at that point, I actually moved to Australia for a couple of years, middle of the recession, as you know. So went out there for a couple of years, and then came back and hadn't really played much guitar out there. Like, I didn't bring any of my guitars with me. I bought an acoustic out there to mess around with on the sofa, like, but I didn't take it seriously. So when I came back in 2014, I was gung-ho, wanted to get the band back together, wanted to start doing some stuff again. And the people I was in the band with were in different places. You know, some of them were in college, some of them were just after buying a house or different things. So it was hard to get everyone together. And then, of course, we were kind of getting the start of something going, and then COVID hit.
Oh, okay.
And it was just like, oh, right, okay. So, you know, a lot of trying to get things going, practice and stuff like this. And actually, it was funny. We had a practice. So the bass player, another guy called Eric, different guy, but we were kind of practicing, and he had his 40th coming up. So we said, right, we're going to play as a 3-piece at your 40th, right? So me and Eric were going to share vocals, and Eric Strong was on the drums. So that was fine. We had a set list together, about an hour stuff, and we were meeting up. And it was kind of, you know, the middle of COVID, where what's the restrictions, what's the rules? It was changing every week.
Oh, stop.
So anyway,
It was tough.
it was mad, like. So my music room in the house, to the side of the house, I have a music room. So we did the drum kit and all was set up there. So and the bassist texted and said, we were due to have a practice that night, and he texted and he said, look, I've a bit of a sniffle, you know, like, what do you think? Should we go ahead or not? And I was like, fuck it, go ahead. I was just in COVID. I was, you know, cracking up from not playing music and not
being
getting
able
out
to
there.
play.
So I was like, fuck it, come on, you'll be grand, come on up. So he came up anyway, and he wasn't sniffling at all or anything. But lo and behold,
He had COVID.
he had COVID, and he gave it to the two of us. And I ended up giving it to my whole
Your family.
in-laws, my wife's family. So it just ended up being a bit of a disaster.
You
And
got left off the Christmas list that year.
yeah. So so that was that, and then we came into 2022, and things started opening up again. But people were going off doing different things, and I started getting involved in an open mic in Drogheda, which was great fun. So I was there. Originally, there was a guy running it called Jimmy, based in Drogheda, and he, after a couple of months, he was kind of, he had enough of it, and he was like, right, you can take it on. So I took it on for a couple of months, maybe 6 months or a year, and that was going grand. Made some great contacts in there and stuff, but I really wanted to get back into a band, and that was then when I was searching the ads on Facebook, you know, start a band Ireland or something like this, and Ger Gallagher had an ad up for Indigo Lights, looking for a lead guitar player. So that's how I got into the band. And I suppose just to give a bit of background on Indigo Lights, so Ger Gallagher from Blanchardstown in Dublin, so he he worked with one of Ireland's most famous wedding bands, Jakier. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
No, I haven't actually.
So fantastic wedding band. But so Jer was the drummer with them for good few years now. You know, doing the circuits. You know the crack, doing the gigs, all the rest. So that was going well, and he decided then he wanted to start writing his own stuff and started learning guitar, and then COVID hit. So during COVID, he was penning songs. He was just flat out writing, learning guitar, learning chords, writing songs, getting stuff together. And then in 2021, he hooked up with a producer who was quiet at the time. Gavin McCormick is the producer's name, and he would have worked with, he works with the Absolute Eagles. He's the lead guitar player with them, and he also worked with the Dublin Gospel Choir.
Oh, brilliant.
Some ABBA tributes and stuff, but you know, fantastic professional guitar player, full-time guitar player, and session musician, and you know, for hire gun. And he also has his own studio. Okay. So he took Jer in, and they had a number of songs which they recorded. So obviously Jer could play the drums, and Jer now at this stage was a multi-instrumentalist, so he could play the bass, he could play guitar, and Gav put some overdubs on a guitar as well. They recorded harmony vocals, and from the sessions they were able to get 3 singles released from it. So there was Goodbye Farewell, there was Gotta Get Away, and Living Life in Lockdown, I think was the other one. So they you know, put them out there and went through the whole process of getting them on iTunes, and they each reached number 1 on the iTunes charts,
brilliant.
which was a great achievement.
Goodbye Farewell is a great song.
Do you like that one? Yeah,
I like that one.
Yeah. Oh, they're catchy. Like he's gifted, Jared. There's no doubt about it. So that was grand. So he had the songs, and then he decided, right, I want to play these live now, and things were starting to open up. So he started putting ads on Facebook, and he met up with a French bassist called Adrien de Rouge, I think is how you pronounce his second name. But Adrien was originally from Marseille and had moved to Dublin for work and for music and you know, all that. So not a big music scene in France, believe it or not. Like, he says Ireland is unbelievable. Like, there's so much of a buzz in Ireland with music.
Compared to France.
In France, he says, it's just so quiet and dull, and especially rock music. Like, I think they like their electronic music.
Okay,
yeah,
maybe so.
They do, yeah. I remember meeting a few boys in Australia. It's all kind of techno, dance, kind of, a lot of that.
House.
Yeah. But go on yourself.
Yeah, so Adrian met up with Jer, and they met some other musicians, and they got a 4-piece together. So they were out gigging on the circuit then in Dublin, and Jer was writing away. So Jer at this stage, he had a nice list of songs. They were able to go out and do 40-minute sets and stuff.
Brilliant.
And then there was a little bit of members leaving and different things happening. So they got a drummer called Enzo on board. So Enzo's originally from the Philippines, but living in Ireland a good few years. So Enzo came on board on drums, and then lead guitar player left, and there was an opportunity for me to join. So I suppose we've been the most stable lineup, the 4 of us. I'm in the band now just over a year and a half. So in that time, I suppose when we got together, we rehearsed the songs and got them down that we were happy. We were playing gigs around, so we got a few gigs in Fibbers, which is a fantastic place. Like,
brilliant
for any
venue, and really put on a great show to showcase original acts,
original music,
Irish
isn't
original
it? Yeah.
acts. Yeah, they really
Absolutely.
make a great effort.
They're fantastic. I couldn't praise them highly enough. So if there's anyone out there that's in bands and you're young and maybe you just want to get some stage time, even if you have 20 minutes or half an hour songs, half covers, half original, if you approach Fibbers, they'll give you a chance on Thursday night.
They'll give you the chance, and even to the extent that their crew are lovely people, like the sound man
Russell.
Russell is
brilliant.
an absolute legend, and Russell writes his own stuff.
That's right. Yeah, I saw his video of some of his stuff.
Man, Gavin, like a real rag and bone man type character. He's a big guy. He's like 6'4", 6'5", built pretty well.
Got the big beard.
Big beard, real deep voice, and sings.
Irish kid.
Yeah, he sings like nearly. I wouldn't say it's like country rock sort of like vibe. Maybe country's the wrong way. There could be
Johnny
folk,
Cash kind of deep voice and
fucking
storytelling
brilliant.
vibe.
Yeah, storytelling. He's a wonderful storyteller in his music, And a hard nice fella.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He'd honestly do anything for musicians on stage to make you feel comfortable.
And he make you sound pretty good too. And they have a backline
Fantastic
kit,
backline.
you know.
So they have a full kit. They have 2 orange amps. They have
Yeah.
I think an Ampeg bass amp, and then they've got a full PA system. So you've got monitors on stage. So it's a fantastic place for any young musicians, young bands looking to get stage time. Fibbers is the place to go. And the great thing about it is, you go in there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Always a crowd in there.
Yes. And love metal music, love rock
love
music.
metal, love rock,
Love
and
grunge, love everything.
yeah,
Just love
you've a
music.
ready-made crowd there, and
Yeah.
they're willing to give people a chance, you know.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of gigs in Fibbers to kind of get up and running. Then we did some gigs in Chennai, and we got a gig in Whelan's supporting our friends in Kampala, who are another Irish band.
I played with them for a while actually.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I played drums with Rob and Barry. Yeah, legends.
Yeah, lovely
Absolute
fellas.
legends.
Lovely
It was
fellas.
just the case that I was in a time of uncertainty career-wise.
Yeah.
And there was talk of a move abroad, which didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I had to let the guys know, and they had asked, well, like, can you see yourself seeing on for the foreseeable? And I don't really know. So
Yeah.
I was travelling up and down from here to
It's a long way
rehearse
to
with them.
Kildare.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or maybe they were practicing Dublin.
Yeah,
were
they were practicing in Walkinstown
Okay.
in one of the studios, but really, really sound guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they're sound and yeah,
Make
great
great tunes.
musicians.
It must have been nice playing in Whelan's.
Yeah, no, it was upstairs,
Still,
so
it doesn't
it's
matter.
you know it's not the downstairs venue is the one people are more familiar with, but still, yeah, it's nice to play there. But again, like, you need to kind of have it planned because it's tickets at the door.
Yeah.
So Kampala they were promoting one of their singles, and they just asked us would we support. So we said yeah, absolutely, jumped at the chance, and yeah, like, it's just you're asking people to pay in, and it's, you know, it can be hit and miss.
Can be.
You know, there was an okay crowd there that night. It wasn't full by any means. I don't think it was even half full, but you know, you take the rough with the smooth.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, but Whelan's is the iconic venue. Like, sure, everybody's played there. Everybody that's
Absolutely
anyone.
class. Yeah.
So,
Brilliant.
So that was a great experience. And then so then I suppose through my contacts in Drogheda, I was able to get some gigs in McHugh's, supporting a Nirvana tribute band called Lounge Act.
That's the 2 boys from Drogheda.
Yeah, Martin and Brian, yeah.
Seen them. I didn't see them physically. I watched them online at Rockathon one year.
Yeah.
Fucking good.
Brilliant. Now, unfortunately, they've called it a day, unfortunately.
Have they?
The band, yeah. So I don't know what the plan is. I think they're doing other music projects,
Okay.
but I have a feeling they might come back at some
They might
point
come
because
back.
they were phenomenal.
Yeah.
Great tribute to Nirvana. They had the look and the
The
sound.
man had the dyed hair and the whole lot. Yeah. Real
sure.
Because I remember seeing a small interview that they did after it, and I didn't know them. I'm like, well, that's a Drogheda accent.
Yeah.
And I kind of searched them. Then I listened to some of the stuff. And fuck yeah, them boys are good.
Yeah,
good.
they were really good to us. So the way I got in with the lads was they're from the town, obviously. So, and I grew up in Drogheda, so I would have known them from the scene, and then chatting to them at gigs and stuff, and then with the Pearl Jam band, we were able to support them on kind of a couple of grunge nights
Yes.
in McHugh's. So that was great, and then with Indigo Lights, we were able to support them on other nights. So it's all connections and
Yeah.
music.
It's all
you know?
networking.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you any gigs booked until the end of the year, Rob?
So
At the minute?
I suppose, as I was saying to you, Luke, like we've had 6 gigs so far this year, so it's been quite busy for us. But Adrian, he's originally from France, and he usually goes back.
You take some downtime to
Take a
go
little bit
back to
downtime.
France. Yeah.
He goes back for a month every year just to catch up with family and stuff. So he's gone back the month of August. So I was saying to Jer, look, I think we'll just take a little bit of downtime, recharge the batteries.
Yeah.
But I see Jer's he's flat out writing and he keeps going, like, you know, he doesn't stop. So I can't wait now to get back into the studio with the guys in September and see what we have.
Nice.
because
Nice.
We'd like to get something released by the end of this year.
Nice one.
You know,
An
in
EP or
terms of a
something,
single,
or
I think
single.
would be something that we could manage, yeah, by the end of this year. So yeah, you know, you just keep plugging with the original stuff, and you're hoping that you can build a bit of a following, you know.
Brilliant.
But it's easier now than it ever was. Like, I remember probably 15 years ago when Eric Strong, the drummer from my previous covers band, he was on the original scene, but it was all CDs.
Yes.
So you go out and
you had to sell your
record.
CD, and then you had to put money into it to buy the
Yeah.
physicals up front.
Yeah.
So whatever about paying for it to begin with, Gavin, then you had to buy
Oh, yeah.
all your CDs.
Yeah.
Go and try and sell them for some lad to say to you, "tenner for that."
Yeah.
Fuck off,
exactly.
yeah.
Giving you bad manners.
end up giving them away at your gigs or
Yeah.
whatever. Like
That's
so,
actually funny you say that. That band I was telling you about, the first band that I auditioned with and got the job for when I was 15, was called Black Tie Event. And we wrote and recorded an EP called Take One, which, if any of you listeners are interested in purchasing, I still have about 800 of them out of the 1,000 that we bought,
yeah.
lying over at my granny's. No joke, we singlets, yeah.
Yeah. That was the game, right?
Unreal.
Now
That was
it's so easy
2016, and it was like,
Yeah.
maybe it was the end of the game, that game, but we
Yeah.
decided we'd get them anyway. I'd say
Yeah.
if we had 100 vinyl records, they would have sold quicker. People would have rathered that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were telling me
Crazy.
where did the name come from?
Yeah, so it's interesting story. I'm a big believer in the name doesn't matter. Like, okay, Metallica is an amazing name.
Yes.
And that's a standard. But a lot of times the name is the band, and then when the band becomes big, the name it's synonymous. It's like you can't think of them in any other terms than the name. It's a bit mad that way. Like Pearl Jam is a funny name.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you heard that episode that we did 10 with. I just, doing the research, I'm like, I didn't even realise Jam. Like,
Yeah, Jam.
I just said it, Pearl Jam, like, Jam. And then I was like, I read something
Red Jam.
that there was, I don't think they actually said where the name ever came from. I don't know.
You were saying Eddie's a good man that lead
Kind of
reporters astray.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he said, "Oh, it's my great granny. She used to
name
make
was
this
Pearl.
jam, and her name was Pearl." Like, it's pure shite talk. Like,
Yeah.
But now, when I think of Pearl Jam, which I never did before, I think of Jam.
Yeah.
Which I never did
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Like as you said, the name is just a name. But now, when I dissected it in my head or something, maybe it's just fucking my mad head. But yeah, I know what you mean. So where did?
So Indigo Lights. So Jer was playing with his son, and he looked at one of the toys, and there was some text on it that just said Indigo Lighting. And at the time, so Jer had produced all this music and recorded all this music himself, but he wanted to put Indigo Lights forward, or he wanted to put the band forward, should I say, as a band, a little bit like Dave Grohl with Foo Fighters' first album.
Yes.
Something with an S at the end, so it sounds like it's a band. It's not just a single
It's just
person.
that, yes.
So he was very conscious of that. So Indigo Lighting. So he's like Indigo Lights. Yeah, we sound like a band, right? Okay, so we'll use that name. And now it's again. I don't even think about the name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's become
It just
what
rolls
that
off the
band
tongue.
is, and yeah, it's funny. Like, so it can come from the simplest of
Oh yeah,
things.
absolutely.
As long as it's memorable and
Where can people find you then?
Yeah, so we're all over the social media, and Jer, in fairness, he does the heavy lifting on that. So we're on YouTube, so you'll catch us at Indigo Lights Official on YouTube, and we've got 3 of our recordings from the session at Shinami Studios, which was all recorded live.
Brilliant.
So there's Hold On, The Best Days, and I think Are You Ready is the 3rd track there. And then if you go to Spotify, you can pick up the recordings that Jer recorded himself. So I think Goodbye Farewell is there, and then also Magic is there, which was recorded with, I believe, Enzo and Adrian recorded on Magic. It was just before I joined the band.
Yeah.
And then if you so that's on Spotify, and there's some of the songs from the Shinami recording there on Spotify as well.
Right, yeah.
Obviously iTunes is a replica of that, and SoundCloud. And then we're on Instagram. I think it's Indigo Lights Official on Instagram and Indigo Lights on Facebook.
Cool.
But I don't think there's any other bands in the world called Indigo Lights, so you should be able to find us quite easy.
We'll put it at the bottom of this video.
Brilliant. Yeah, we'll put it to where people can find you.
Yeah, so hopefully this year we'll have some new material out for people to digest.
Nice.
Good stuff.
Some Christmas presents.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Rob, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk about Indigo Lights. And right now is about the time that we go to question time.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Do. You kick it off there, Luke.
Right. Can you name
Just pull that in
a
a wee bit.
book, a film, and an album that you think everybody should take a look at?
Is this is just general my
Just
opinion?
general,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
just
your
your
opinion.
opinion, yeah.
A
Okay,
movie that you like, a book that you like, and
Yeah,
an
an
album
album
that
that
you
you
like.
like.
interesting. Okay, well, the album for me, the best album ever recorded for me is Nevermind by Nirvana.
Solid shout.
And it's everything. It was the first one that I could stick on and go from start to finish. That wasn't a best of album
Yeah.
and not skip a song. The production is amazing. When I compare Bleach production to
Yeah.
Nevermind production, it's night and day.
Oh, it is, yeah.
And the Kurt's vocal sounds amazing.
Yeah.
The harmonies with Dave sound amazing. The bass, the drums, the layered guitars. It's all so simple, but Butch Vig just does a fantastic job
Yeah.
to get that all sonically sounding amazing. So for me, that's the album. It's Nevermind. But it's funny because I walk around, from out and about at the weekend. I was actually at Emerald Park a couple of weeks ago, and I saw about 3 people with Nirvana t-shirts on.
No way.
Yeah, I swear to God. And like
Kids or
mothers.
Yeah.
None of them were actually lads, right?
Yeah.
It was mothers and kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, wearing like Nirvana t-shirts. So
Well, I have a couple of students, and it's their mothers who are absolutely brilliant influences on their taste in music.
yeah,
And fair play to them into the heavier stuff. Came up in that era of maybe the late 80s, early 90s,
yeah.
pumping all of that really good stuff.
I don't know, is it a fashion statement or do they actually
No,
know
I
the
think
music?
it's just
or is
some
it both
people
No,
maybe?
who
I think-
know the music and who just wear band t-shirts. Just love
Yeah.
it. Jeans, Vans, Converse, band t-shirts.
Yeah.
Just love the style.
I feel like there's like a wee kind of a...
There's a resurgence, as you have said.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it
there
seems
definitely
to be.
is.
Has definitely. So, movie.
Movie. That's interesting now because I used to watch a lot of movies and recently I don't watch so many movies because
Yeah.
it's such a big commitment.
Can be an old one.
Yeah, it will be. So yeah, I went through a period there, probably about like 15, 20 years ago, where I was massive into all the classic gangster movies.
Brilliant.
So it would have to be one of them, and I'm probably going to go with Goodfellas.
Ah, yeah.
And I love The Godfathers as well, but I just think on Goodfellas, I think it was made in 1990, and it's sleek. So it's got the narrative and then the music in Goodfellas is unbelievable.
Brilliant. I must
you've
check
got,
it out again.
You've got Gimme Shelter, Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. You've got Sunshine of Your Love
Cream.
by Cream. When Robert De Niro knows he's gonna whack Maury, he's there
right.
smoking the fag, and it slows down
Yeah.
in the smoky bar.
Yes.
And you can he's zooming into him. He's so intense. And Sunshine of Your Love is playing in the background.
Is that when they bring him to the pub?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Joe Pesci comes back. Is that the one? Is that the bit?
They're in the bar, and so Maury he's loaned money to De Niro, and
That's right.
and De Niro hasn't paid him back.
Yes,
and
yes,
every time
yes.
they meet, he's asking. And,
Oh, the guy with the wig. Yes,
yeah, the guy with the wig.
Yes,
and
yes.
it's all jovial.
Yeah.
And then one night it just turns, and it's like, I've had enough of him asking. Let's just get rid of him.
Let's
you know?
settle this.
Great for him.
Yeah, and that was it then, and it's the turning point of De Niro where he's like the nice guy
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
this
Great-
psychopath.
great
And
movie.
The scene, his facial expressions and the music just perfectly in tandem.
It's nearly like his character in The Irishman. It's like
Yeah.
they paint houses, and he's this sort of nice family guy until
Oh,
someone
yeah.
winds him up the wrong way.
Yeah.
In
It's a phenomenal
Goodfellas, it's better because he's, like Rob says, he is this nice, funny guy with Pesci and all that, and then he just turns
Turns.
into his face, everything just turns into a psycho. Shank you, man. Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great film.
It's brilliant. And then the third song that's in that, do you know the outro of Layla
Yes.
by Derek and the Dominoes?
Yeah, it has the
Another
lovely
Eric Clapton one.
piano.
So there's a scene in it where everything's unraveling, and the cops are finding bodies here and evidence there, and everything is starting to unravel.
Oh,
Exactly. That's in that there.
Or they find the, when they're finding the bodies. And
Yeah,
Great, yeah.
it's brilliant. There's two more actually. George Harrison, "What Is Life." I don't
Brilliant.
know if you know that song.
Yeah.
That song's in it.
I never realised actually. Yeah.
And there's another one, Atlantis, the ocean.
No, I can't say I know that one.
so,
I wonder
like-
what I know it if I heard it.
Watching that movie is like an education in
What's
In
the
rock
music.
opening
music.
song? It's the Italian boy.
Let me see now. So it starts off with
Song, isn't it? He's on.
it starts off with a scene where the guy's in the boot, and they're driving, and they thought they had killed him, and he's in the boot. And
Yeah.
next thing all they hear is this banging on the boot. What's that? What's that noise?
Yeah,
And they open the boot, and your man's still alive.
yeah. I thought there was a
And
song.
then you're right. It's an old Italian
An
song.
old Italian
is it
song.
is it Frank Sinatra or Dean Martin?
No,
or
I
someone?
don't think it's any of them big players. I don't think.
Yeah.
Is
Oh,
it-
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It opens with that. Yeah.
And then the painting, and when they go in, like, it's great. Have you seen it?
Goodfellas, I haven't seen it all.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
no, I would have
Jesus.
watched it in bits and pieces
When
I was
they go
younger.
back into Pesci's mother's house and they're having the food and they look at the painting and it looks like your man's like, oh, fucking
That's right. That's right. They're having the in joke,
Yeah.
and the mother is there
The
feeding
mother's
her
cooking
son,
them, like,
they're
and
after
the two.
killing this
You're
guy.
good,
Yeah.
good Italian boys.
Yeah.
You know. Here's
Eat
some
your-
food.
eat
You know,
your food.
And
she
then
hasn't a clue.
the
Like,
painting
and
on the wall and it's the image of your man that they're after and they're all laughing. Oh.
so the woman, that's actually Martin Scorsese's mother. So
Is
Martin
it?
Scorsese
No way.
obviously directed.
Yeah,
Goodfellas,
She's the
but
mother?
she's the mother in it.
Wow,
Yeah,
there
yeah.
you
So
go.
that's
it's
brilliant.
interesting.
Cameo appearance.
Cameo appearance.
Fun
yeah.
fact for you.
What about
So-
the book, Rob?
The
What
book, yeah,
would you recommend?
it's funny. Like I'm not a big reader, of like books, you know, and like I love reading about bands and stuff. Like I find that absolutely fascinating. But like I suppose what's on my bedside locker at the moment is The Godfather, and I'm probably like the third time and about halfway through it. But I did go through a period there maybe 6 months ago where I went through and watched all the Godfather films again. So then I was like, I must dig out the book and see, because there's a lot of differences from the book to what's actually on the movie, and it's very interesting, you know. And then there's
Is it like
articles
Yellow
about-
Pages? Is it? Is it a big one?
It's oh yeah, well it's what that thick.
Yeah.
But, again, reading a book is kind of a, you know, I don't know if many people read books. It's all on iPads or even Kindles aren't a thing anymore, are they?
Audio books, yeah.
Or audiobooks, yeah.
Yeah.
Sugar water, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Godfather, I do
Godfather
enjoy
books.
that. I do enjoy the
Okay.
different characters, and you know, I still love all the gangster movies and stuff like that. So
Can you name one thing on your no, let me think what I asked you. What other hobbies have you got apart from music?
used to be huge into football.
Right.
Watching you're a Man United fan, yeah.
Yeah.
Huge Man United fan, and then kind of wasn't as into it in the last few years because they haven't been great.
Yeah, I
you
know, I know.
And
It's starting to turn too, I think
yeah,
it's just money now, isn't it?
yeah, it's
I know
it's a
it
different
always
game.
was money, but
it's
there
a
was
different game.
Yeah, it's a different game.
But so at home, like I've young kids, so to get to, and my little fella's 7, and he's starting to get into football now. So I said, right, for the Euros, we're going to do like a draft, like a, what do you call it? We'll each pick
Yeah.
teams
Yeah.
and last man standing is that what you call
Yes, yes, yes.
it. So we divided up the teams, and so the kids picked and my wife picked and I picked, and you know, so when I had the chart and I was filling it out with the kids every day, who won and who's into the semis and who's into
Brilliant.
the final. So that generated so much interest for the kids in the soccer again, you know. So yeah, I think now I'm going to start getting more into it because, you know, my little fella is really getting into the soccer. Like, you know, as I was saying, I was kicking ball with him tonight before I come
Before
up
you
here.
come down
So
the road, brilliant.
he's obsessed with it now, you know. He's just at that age where he's sucking it all up, you know. And even like Ronaldo and Messi are still on the go, so
Yeah.
it's great for him, you know.
Yeah, wonder years.
As long as he doesn't go down the Liverpool road, you have to bait that out.
Oh no, I don't think there's any risk of that. So they're worse than
Yeah.
United at the minute. But yeah, so yeah, no, I like the football now. Yeah,
Brilliant. What
Yeah.
would your go-to takeaway be?
oh, that's a good one now. A chicken curry from what's the restaurant? Jeez, I should remember this now. The one in Trinity Street in Drogheda. Oh, what's it called?
Wouldn't be familiar.
Yeah,
I
I'm not
should know
very
this.
familiar with
I should know
Drogheda
this.
at all.
Oh, I'm kicking myself now. I can't remember. It was a chicken curry from there was the
Chicken curry.
go-to for years,
Chinese.
and I can't remember. Yeah,
Chinese.
What was it if it wasn't the golden?
It'll
bowl?
come to you. Is there ever
Yeah.
a lyric in a song that really kind of resonated with you, or you kind of really stuck with you, that you listened to growing up?
Yeah, at different times, different songs. There's not one lyric, but I'm trying to think now. Like the Beatles have so much, you know. It's unbelievable. I think that the lyrics in "Imagine" by John Lennon are quite powerful. Because they still ring true to this day.
Yes, they're timeless.
You know the whole. I know he was very politically active, John Lennon, in his time, but
Did you see? Sorry to cut across you. Imagine at the Olympics, the opening ceremony.
no, I didn't.
Did you see it?
didn't that.
No.
Jesus, it was powerful.
Really?
Now, I
Yeah.
know there was a lot of people saying to and from or whatever about the whole opening ceremony, but there was a girl on a, was it a girl or a fella, on a piano
Okay.
on fire in the middle of the scene.
Wow.
And she sang Imagine,
Yeah.
and it was fucking
Class.
powerful
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Like you could, obviously, whatever way they recorded, she's in the middle of the city, but it was like silent, and her lyrics were really just isolated.
Yeah.
They were present.
They were, and with the French accent, it was fucking amazing.
I must look that up
Yeah.
because I love that
Yeah.
song.
Yeah, it's
It's-
really,
it's so
really
powerful.
good. Yeah.
And another one actually. It's funny because when I read about what lyrics mean, then they mean that little bit more to me.
Yes.
Hey Jude
Right.
is written by Paul McCartney about John Lennon's son Jules, or Julian. They used to call him Jules, so he changed it to Hey Jude. But it's basically about the breakup of John Lennon and his first wife Cynthia, and then John Lennon, you know, sort of taken up with Yoko Ono, and then they had a son, and it was a very sad story. Julian was kind of left behind.
Yeah.
Um,
Take a sad song and make it better. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Fuck it,
So
no.
Paul McCartney was a massive father figure to Julian Lennon, because when, you know, John Lennon's new wife was around, Yoko Ono, he didn't spend as much time,
with
wasn't
his-
as affectionate
with his son.
with his son,
Yeah.
because that was seen as his old life and this was his new wife. And Paul McCartney was apparently very good to him and wrote this song for him. And when you listen to the lyrics
Yeah.
and you think of it in that way, I think it's very powerful, you know.
Music is powerful in many, many ways, you know. But that, jeez, I didn't know that story. Do you know
Yeah.
that, Luke?
No, I must ask Kevin about it.
Yeah.
Oh, Evan would know, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Big Beatles fan.
Massive Beatles fan.
I think
Massive.
you answered the other questions. The first and last concert you were at, was it
First.
Was Pearl Jam the last one?
Um,
It was
Well,
Green,
Green,
Day.
Green Day
after.
was
Green Day was
after
after
Pearl
it.
Jam, so that's. I was trying to think now. Yeah, that was the last one.
And your first one?
First one was in the year 2000, and it was Oasis at Lansdowne Road,
Unreal.
Oh, great.
and it was Supergrass supporting,
Wow.
and they were promoting Standing on the Shoulder of Giants. I was only 16, myself and a few of my mates. We got the bus up, and
Great days.
it was just, you know, the way when you're 16 and you're so impressionable and you're going into this world of, you know, live music and alcohol and all that stuff. It's just
Smoking
like
fags.
it's absolutely mind
Give me
blowing,
the
you
butt
know.
of that fag, would you?
Yeah, exactly.
Name me the half of that fag.
But yeah, it was mad, and of
An
course, like
education.
we stood back, like we weren't up. It was crazy up towards the stage, but like we stood back a little bit so we could kind of, you know, younger, small or whatever, take it in. But yeah, Oasis, they played a great set list that day. A lot of stuff off Definitely Maybe and What's the Story, and didn't play a whole lot off the new album, which was great because it wasn't much good.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to see an iconic band with like Oasis, they were nearly the soundtrack to my youth in the 90s.
Yeah. A lot of
And
people.
just to see them live was phenomenal. you know.
Huge.
Great. It was a great
Nice.
gig. And yeah, and being addicted to going to gigs ever since. Like, you know, I think it was Bryan Adams in Slane later that year. So as soon as we got home from that gig, we were booking tickets for Slane.
Yeah, the
And
following.
yeah, I managed to get to every Slane bar the Euros in Australia. Didn't go to Harry Styles, obviously. And
Probably
I didn't-
Eminem was the year you were in Australia.
He
It was
was,
2013.
Eminem
I
and-
was at that
How's
gig.
that?
and Bon Jovi.
Bon
There was two
Jovi
gigs
as well,
that year.
yeah.
Did you go to Madonna?
Didn't go to Madonna, but everything else from 2000 right up to 19 Metallica, yeah.
That'd be a
Every-
great episode to have you on. Would be talk about the Slanes.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah, no problem, yeah.
Metallica was
great.
good.
It's been some great bands played there, like, you know.
Chili's was my first one. What was your first one, Luke?
Yeah.
Slane
Eminem?
must have been Eminem. Yeah, yeah. Did Oasis play in 08?
No,
09, yeah.
09?
Did
The headline in 09.
They supported who?
Support REM in 95.
Oh, you said that, yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I remember 09, and my grandmother has a B&B around here locally, and I remember it being absolutely packed with people who had come to stay
For
Slane. And that, like, you know, that's some spin. It had never happened.
It's nearly
I
an
think,
hour from here,
previous.
is it?
Well, it's 35 minutes, because you can go by Drumconrath. You're up the Navan Road and cut across.
Yeah.
Drogheda just comes alive on the day Slane.
Yeah.
Like McPhail's used to be black from
Yeah.
12:30, 1 o'clock in the day.
Party was
So I
You know,
remember,
I'd say, yeah.
I
it was
remember
great.
Tickets just thrown in the bin.
Huh?
They just threw their tickets.
Didn't go.
No, like on the next day
All right.
when I was helping her clean out the rooms
Oh, you
or
couldn't
whatever.
get over the stubs.
I couldn't get over, like, they just left their stubs because I had all the stubs.
I used
you
to
know.
collect them as
Yeah.
well. Not anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah,
No.
It's gone, but
we
yeah.
were actually over the moon that we got a physical ticket on the second night of Metallica.
Yeah, we got a paper ticket. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Not too many of them anymore.
No, honestly, not
Yeah.
too many of them at all. One of our last questions, Rob, would be
Yeah.
if you had the power to form a super band of 4 or 5 musicians, past or present, dead or alive, who would you pick?
I don't think I need to put that band together because that band has already been out and they've done their thing and they're finished. And that's Led Zeppelin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you could take, I don't know, Steve Vai and, Steve Perry from Journey and you could take, a phenomenal bass player like Jaco Pastorius and, a phenomenal drummer like Neil Peart.
Yeah.
But would they actually work together
It's sort of
as a band?
yeah, or like going transcending the theoretics of whether they'd get on together or not. It's
Yeah.
like they're put in a room, they're made to make it work.
Yeah, I think Led Zeppelin have done it.
Yeah.
Even the evolution through their albums, the amount of styles that they covered, like that band, arguably started heavy metal.
Yeah, like to
Okay.
go from their first album to where
many
Stairway
different-
to Heaven was,
Oh yeah,
or going to California, you would think it's a different band.
And survived them
yeah,
years.
like the
Yeah,
first album, like
together.
first album, they've got elements of folk, they've got elements of rock and roll, R&B, elements of early heavy metal.
Still can't get over John Bonham was only 19 recording Good Times, Bad Times.
Oh.
The triplets, and no one had ever heard of it.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. He was unbelievable. Yeah, so just Led Zeppelin's me.
Yeah, I didn't know he was that young.
They're yeah.
Did you ever see
Oh,
Robert
yeah.
Plant?
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to see all 4 members of Led Zeppelin that played in 2007. So they played that O2 show. I
Yeah.
didn't get to that. Myself and my mate were huge Led Zeppelin fans. Shout out to Mick. And we put in for the lottery for the O2 Arena for Led Zeppelin in
Didn't
2007.
happen.
Didn't happen. And since then I got to download a couple of years and I got to see them Crooked Vultures, John Paul Jones,
Yeah, Dave Grohl.
Dave Grohl and
right.
Josh Homme,
Yeah.
who's not well at the minute, I believe.
No?
Yeah, I believe he's very sick. He had to be rushed home off tour for emergency surgery.
Oh shit!
Yeah, he's
So
recovering
they-
from cancer, so I think
Was
he's...
he?
Yeah.
Oh, they finally got that gig through. You know the way he wanted to play in the catacombs in France?
Down in the catacombs?
Yeah, as mad as he is. He said it took 18 years to get the go-ahead to get it to go through with it, and then he
Yeah.
had to be rushed home for this surgery.
There you go, yeah.
That
Is he
might
not
actually
fairly
end up
healthy,
being
is he?
off.
Yeah.
Best wishes to Josh.
Yeah.
And then in 2011, I got a chance to see a band called Black Country Communion with Jason Bonham on
Jason
drums.
Bonham was, they
Yeah.
had some great tunes.
Oh, they're class.
Yeah.
Did you hear the new album?
No, I just remember
Class.
shout out to my drum teacher back in the day, Mark Duffy,
Yeah.
who would have got me onto the Zeppelin buzz. John Bonham is one of his favourite drummers, and he
Yeah.
would have said to me, check out Jason's stuff.
Oh,
Black
yeah.
Country Communion.
Is he the one that drummed on that video? The tribute.
Jason Bonham
Yeah.
to his dad.
Yeah.
Likely, yeah.
Remember the video with the girl from Heart singing?
And
Yeah.
Wilson,
Wilson.
is it?
Remember they done... What did they do?
Did they do Kashmir?
No, they done... Maybe it's on Stairway to Heaven.
Okay, cool.
I'm nearly sure it was him. Did you
Yeah,
ever see
he's
that? No,
phenomenal.
Jimmy Page and Robert Plant, they're all in the crowd and they're all playing.
Oh,
No.
is this the is this where Barack Obama is there, and it's the induction
Yes.
into the what
Yeah.
is it the name of it? They,
Yeah.
they wear these medals that have
Yes, Obama
the
was
rainbow
there,
colour?
right, yeah. Wasn't that
Okay.
not him drumming that day?
there was a load of
Likely he's like the
bands.
only one that's
Little,
sort of
little hat, he
played.
wore a wee hat.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else has played with them, Rob. Have in
Well,
live scenario? have they?
Live Aid. Yeah, I don't know if you know much about Live Aid, but
No, I haven't. Like
Led Zeppelin played Live Aid.
Yeah.
But it wasn't allowed to be released on the DVD. So basically, what happened was I think Robert Plant was on tour and his voice was in bad shape. Jimmy Page was going through drug issues at the time. John Paul Jones, consummate professional, he was fine.
Bonham
but
was
they-
dead, wasn't he? In 85?
That was 85, yeah. So Bonham passed away in 1980.
Yeah.
So the plan was they'd all rock into Philadelphia to the JFK Stadium to play Live Aid in the afternoon. And Phil Collins had played a set at Wembley.
Yeah, and
Got
flew over.
Concorde
Yeah.
over to Philadelphia.
That's
And he
right.
was going to play with Led Zeppelin and with Eric Clapton. And they had Tony Thompson from Chic as well
Okay.
playing drums. So there was to be. So imagine this, right?
Double drums.
You're playing in front of 100,000 people and the worldwide audience of, hundreds of millions of people, and you decide to play 3 Led Zeppelin classic songs, as a, reuniting the band, but you have never sat in a room with the drummers. I
Yeah.
think they spent a few minutes with Tony Thompson, but they didn't have time to
With Phil.
with practice with Phil Collins, and you've got 2 drummers.
I feel it
So
fucking
you-
rocket either
But
way.
you
One
can
of the
imagine
best
when there's
drummers.
2 drummers trying to play John Bonham.
Yeah.
It's not standard stuff.
It's actually very funny you say that. The what is it? What a whole lot of Zepp. The Irish tribute act have 3 drummers
Wow.
on the one stage.
Wait.
Yeah.
amazing.
3 fucking
Playing at the
drummers,
same
bro.
time?
Yeah.
For the whole gig, like.
Yeah.
3 drummers.
Yeah.
What's the thinking behind that?
No clue at all. I know Jay Oglesby and Johnny Boyle playing it. I don't know who the third drummer is.
Look,
but,
doing the sound for that.
oh yeah, couldn't imagine.
Bad, yeah.
Especially
Maybe
with
2 of
that
them aren't
big,
mic'd.
bombastic sound
Yeah.
of John Bonham, which was just pure
Oh, yeah.
power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was 85, and if you'll see it on YouTube if you ever look up that clip. They played Rock and Roll, Stairway to Heaven, and Whole Lot of Love,
Brilliant.
and it's not brilliant. It's
Yeah.
really, really bad, right? Robert Plant can't hear himself. Vocals are he sounds hoarse, and Jimmy Page's guitar was out of tune, and he didn't even realise he was that out of it. And it wasn't a great way to end it. So that's the reason why in 2007 they decided, right, we need to do this right. The chief of Atlantic Records passed away, Armit Ertegun. So they decided we're going to do a show in
tribute.
his tribute, and that was how that gig came about. So, and that's great. Like,
And it was just the one gig.
Yeah, I forgot
yeah,
about that.
just the one, yeah.
I remember the hustle for tickets. It went for millions, weren't it?
Oh, yeah,
We're
yeah.
going absolute crazy.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah,
Jesus. Everyone and anyone wanted
Wanted
to go
to
to
see
it.
them.
It was
yeah.
ridiculous. Led Zeppelin, like,
Yeah.
So I got to see, Jason with Black Country Communion. As I said, John Paul Jones with Them Crooked Vultures. I got to see Jimmy Page in London, and he was being interviewed for The Guardian. Okay, so he was basically talking for 2 hours, and people were asking questions. It was great. I was hoping he'd pick up a guitar and play something,
And
and
he
he
didn't.
didn't. I was like, oh my god, right. And then I got to see Robert Plant in 2017. He came to the Burgosh,
Brilliant.
and with his band, and he did his own stuff, and then he did some Led Zeppelin stuff as well.
Did he?
In a different style, a lot of it. Obviously his vocals are a lot different
What
than
age
they
is he
were.
now?
Oh, I'd say
He'd
he's
be a good age,
70.
wouldn't he?
or-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
tipping it maybe, yeah. He's that vintage anyway.
vintage is good cognac. I seen him in America with Alison Krauss. was it?
Alison Krauss, yeah.
Yeah, I seen-
Raising Sand was the album they did, yeah.
Yeah, down in Bonnaroo in that festival in Bonnaroo.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. But that's it. Great little chat with you, Rob. I really enjoyed
Thanks very
that
much.
one.
Yeah, it
yeah.
was a pleasure.
And
Thank you very much.
We'll put all Rob's details at the bottom of this video, and that's it. Catch you on the next one.
See you
Great
later.
stuff.